In the bustling United States, Maggie, a woman of striking beauty and sharp intellect, struggles with her professional path. Despite holding a law degree, her heart resides in the nurturing environment of a classroom, where she imparts knowledge to eager young minds. However, the relentless pressure of financial obligations forces her to consider a career in law, a path she finds less fulfilling. She reluctantly attends an interview at her father's prestigious law firm, harboring little hope for success. Seeking a respite from her internal conflict, Maggie meets her vivacious friend, Sarah, at a local restaurant. Sarah, sensing Maggie's weariness, proposes an impulsive trip to the quaint European kingdom of Calpurnia. Maggie, craving a break from her monotonous routine, readily agrees. Upon returning home, she finds an unexpected ally in her mother, who encourages her to embrace the journey as a means of rejuvenation. In stark contrast, her father, a staunch advocate for professional ambition, vehemently opposes the trip, urging her to prioritize her legal career. He even offers to leverage his influence to secure her a position at the firm, bypassing the traditional hiring process. Maggie, however, fiercely rejects his interference, determined to prove her worth through her own merits. Ultimately, her mother's persuasive charm prevails, convincing her father to grant Maggie her European sojourn before the firm's decision is announced. Meanwhile, in the picturesque kingdom of Calpurnia, Prince Adrian, a charismatic and somewhat rebellious royal, prepares for his coronation, a ceremony that will officially mark his ascension to the throne following his late father's passing. During a breakfast meeting with his composed mother, Queen Patricia, and his loyal assistant, Felix, Adrian discusses his vision for the coronation festivities. Queen Patricia, a staunch traditionalist, expresses her disapproval of Adrian's perceived reckless behavior, citing his tendency to escape the confines of the palace and indulge in frivolous social gatherings. She warns him that such conduct is unbecoming of a monarch. Adrian, however, envisions a more inclusive celebration, one that embraces the common people of Calpurnia. The Queen, adhering strictly to royal protocol, dismisses his progressive ideas as a deviation from established customs. Maggie and Sarah arrive in Calpurnia, their senses overwhelmed by the kingdom's enchanting charm. They wander through the bustling town square, their eyes captivated by the vibrant sights and sounds. They pause at a picturesque fountain where Sarah, in a moment of whimsical spontaneity, makes a wish. She then suggests they join a guided tour group, but Maggie, preferring the freedom of independent exploration, politely declines, promising to meet Sarah back at the hotel in time for dinner. As Maggie meanders through the cobblestone streets, a sudden gust of wind snatches her hat, sending it spiraling into the path of a motorcycle ridden by none other than Prince Adrian. Oblivious to the incident, Adrian continues his journey. Later, however, he returns, retrieving the hat, and to Maggie's surprise, also returning a watch he had mistakenly taken. Maggie, intrigued by his unexpected act of chivalry, inquires about the hat's pristine condition. Adrian, with a touch of playful sarcasm, attributes it to magic. Their initial annoyance dissolves into a light-hearted exchange, and Adrian seizes the opportunity to invite Maggie to meet him at the fountain that evening. As the coronation day draws nearer, Adrian continues to grapple with the conflicting desires of adhering to tradition and embracing change. He seeks counsel from a royal advisor, but the advisor's responses are vague and unhelpful, leaving Adrian feeling discouraged. Upon returning to the hotel, Maggie recounts her encounter with the mysterious stranger to Sarah. Meanwhile, a young girl named Katia, her eyes filled with determination, enters the hotel lobby, attempting to sell Maggie a handcrafted souvenir. When a stern hotel staff member attempts to shoo Katia away, accusing her of bothering the guests, Maggie intervenes, defending the girl's right to earn a living. She purchases the souvenir, moved by Katia's resilience and her own fondness for children. Initially hesitant about meeting Adrian, Maggie is persuaded by Sarah's encouragement. Upon meeting Adrian, Sarah quickly realizes he is a good person and decides to give them privacy. Maggie and Adrian then venture to a local cafe. Upon arriving, the waiter, recognizing Adrian, is about to address him as Your Highness, but Adrian quickly gestures for him to treat him as an ordinary customer, concealing his royal identity from Maggie. During their conversation, Maggie shares her frustrations with her father's pressure to pursue a legal career, and Adrian, in a moment of vulnerability, admits to similar pressures from his mother. Maggie's passionate advocacy for children strikes a chord with Adrian, who reveals his own deep affection for them. When Maggie inquires about his family, he remains evasive, stating only that they are involved in business. As the evening draws to a close, Adrian, captivated by Maggie's charm, asks to see her again the following morning. The next morning, Maggie and Sarah are greeted by a lavish breakfast spread, courtesy of Adrian, delivered by the hotel staff. Along with the breakfast, Maggie receives a handwritten letter from Adrian, further fueling her curiosity about his true identity. She suspects that his family may own the hotel, but the staff remains tight-lipped, only revealing that his family are good people. Adrian and Maggie meet again, embarking on a leisurely stroll through the kingdom's picturesque streets, their conversation flowing effortlessly as they share their life stories. Their bond deepens with each passing moment, but their idyllic interlude is abruptly interrupted by a call from Felix, who insists that Adrian return to the palace immediately, forcing him to bid a hasty farewell to Maggie. The following day, Maggie and Sarah visit a local museum, where they stumble upon photographs of Adrian and his mother, Queen Patricia, confirming their suspicions. Adrian is the Prince of Calpurnia. Maggie, feeling a sense of betrayal, decides to delve deeper into Adrian's past, researching him online. She discovers an article that paints him in a negative light, portraying him as a notorious womanizer who deceives unsuspecting women by posing as an ordinary citizen. Later, Maggie confronts Adrian, revealing her discovery. Adrian, visibly shocked, attempts to explain his actions, stating that his intention was to allow her to know him as a person, free from the constraints of his royal title. Maggie, however, remains skeptical, accusing him of being a manipulative womanizer. Adrian vehemently denies the allegations, explaining that the rumors are false. To prove his sincerity, he invites Maggie to accompany him to a secluded location, a secret children's shelter he secretly funds. At the shelter, Adrian introduces Maggie to Felix, asking her to wait while he engages in a spirited game of volleyball with the children. During this time, Felix reveals to Maggie the true extent of Adrian's philanthropic endeavors, explaining that he has established a foundation to provide for underprivileged children, a secret he has kept hidden from everyone, including the royal family. Through her conversation with Felix, Maggie begins to see Adrian in a new light, realizing that the article she read was a gross misrepresentation of his character. She meets Katia, the young girl she encountered at the hotel, and learns that she resides at the shelter. Katia confides in Maggie, expressing her struggles to connect with the other children. Maggie offers words of encouragement, inspiring Katia to overcome her shyness and perform a song on stage. This act of kindness further solidifies Adrian's respect for Maggie. He invites her to dine with him at the royal palace, eager to share a glimpse into his life within its grand walls. Meanwhile, Queen Patricia, having learned of her son's burgeoning relationship with Maggie, orders her guards to monitor her every move, gathering intel about her background and intentions. After some hesitation, Maggie accepts Adrian's invitation, venturing into the opulent palace. Adrian introduces her to his mother, and during dinner, the Queen and other members of the royal family express their disapproval of Maggie's presence, particularly her outspoken views on Adrian's desire to modernize royal traditions. After dinner, Queen Patricia, in a private conversation with Adrian, demands that he end his relationship with Maggie. Adrian, however, refuses, declaring his unwavering love for her. He then rushes to the hotel, imploring Maggie to join him outside, where they confess their mutual affection under the starlit sky. Unbeknownst to them, a cunning journalist captures their intimate moment on camera. The following day, photographs of Maggie and Adrian appear on the front pages of newspapers, causing a public sensation. Queen Patricia, enraged by the scandal, plots to sabotage their relationship. Maggie and Sarah, overwhelmed by the media frenzy, decide to leave the hotel, but are met by a throng of reporters. They quickly retreat to their room, seeking refuge from the prying eyes of the press. Later, Maggie receives a frantic call from her father, who, having learned of her relationship with the prince, demands that she return home immediately. Maggie, feeling overwhelmed and conflicted, sees Adrian waiting for her in the hotel lobby. He pleads with her to join him for a few days in Paris, but Maggie, torn between her love for him and her sense of duty, declines his offer. The next day, as Maggie and Sarah prepare to leave, Maggie receives a call from the law firm, informing her that she has been offered the job and must return to the United States. Maggie experiences a whirlwind of emotions, feeling both elated and heartbroken. She is overjoyed to have secured the job she desired, but her love for Adrian and her growing affection for Calpurnia make it difficult to leave. She grapples with the agonizing decision of choosing between her career aspirations and her newfound love. After much deliberation, Maggie makes the painful decision to leave Adrian and pursue her legal career. This decision shatters Adrian's heart, and he makes no further attempts to salvage their relationship. Before returning to her homeland, Maggie resolves to visit the royal palace, seeking an audience with Queen Patricia. Her intention is to discuss the children's foundation that Adrian had secretly established. Queen Patricia, who had previously perceived Adrian's interest in Maggie as merely a fleeting romantic entanglement, is astounded to learn the truth about her son's unwavering commitment to the welfare of vulnerable children. This revelation profoundly moves the queen, prompting her to deeply regret her previous judgments and actions. She instructs Felix to escort her to the children's foundation. Witnessing firsthand the transformative impact of Adrian's work, she gains a newfound understanding of her son's character. Consequently, she decides to grant his wish for a public coronation celebration, embracing the spirit of inclusivity he had advocated for. As Maggie packs her belongings, preparing for her departure, hotel staff member delivers an unexpected invitation, a formal summons to Adrian's coronation. Initially, Maggie hesitates, contemplating the emotional turmoil of attending. However, Sarah, ever the supportive friend, persuades her to accept the invitation, urging her to seize the opportunity for closure. Meanwhile, Queen Patricia, acutely aware of the profound pain Adrian endures due to his separation from Maggie, resolves to rectify her past mistakes and wholeheartedly support her son's happiness. She decides to relinquish her controlling tendencies and empower him to forge his own path. The Queen visits Maggie at the hotel, offering a sincere apology for her previous behavior. She then extends a heartfelt job offer, inviting Maggie to work within the Kingdom of Calpurnia, specifically at Adrian's Children's Foundation. Maggie, overwhelmed by the Queen's unexpected gesture, is initially speechless. However, the prospect of fulfilling her lifelong dream of working with children ultimately sways her decision. She accepts the Queen's offer, choosing to remain in Calpurnia. In the Grand Hall of the Royal Palace, Adrian's coronation ceremony unfolds, attended by the royal family and the common people of Calpurnia, who have been granted access to the momentous occasion. As the ceremony reaches its climax, Maggie's arrival causes a stir. Adrian, his gaze fixed upon her radiant beauty, is momentarily stunned into silence. A gentle smile graces Maggie's lips, conveying her unspoken affection. Now officially crowned as king, Adrian expresses his profound joy at Maggie's presence, inquiring about her intentions to stay or return to her homeland. Maggie, her voice filled with conviction, declares her decision to remain by his side. She formally announces her acceptance of the position at his foundation, confessing her enduring love for him. In the film's concluding moments, Adrian, having found true love and companionship in Maggie, resolves to spend the rest of his life with her, acknowledging her as the embodiment of all the qualities he had sought in partner.